I have a confession. It's low-key kind of embarrassing. And here's the confession. So I was sent all of these decks by publishers to review, and I think I shared some of these decks on my social media, but for the most part I completely forgot about them, and I've been feeling really bad. I think they sent it without any sort of clearly stated expectations, like how many posts I was supposed to make or how much I was supposed to share, but I think it was sort of just given to me in trust that I would share them on my social media, and I think I did share a few of them. I even filmed some videos, I think for 2 of these decks. In the past 2 years, this period in which I was sent these decks, I was just a total mess, and I just could not manage. Just couldn't bring myself to really put them on my social media. I've been feeling kind of guilty about that. I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of these free decks and just like receiving them and then not doing anything about them. And I do want to share these decks with you guys and just give them the love and attention and spotlight that they deserve, because they're all incredible decks. So the first deck that I want to share with you is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. And honest to God, I think I actually filmed a video / vlog just using this deck, and I forgot if I actually posted it or not, because there was a time when I was like filming videos, but I just got so overwhelmed by the stress that I was under. I forgot exactly what was happening, but it was just like a lot of shit. Like, it was a total shit show. Like, the past 2 years have been a total shit show for me, and I just couldn't get my shit together until like now / recently. I remember filming a video for this deck, and I actually want to share it on my YouTube, but I just never got to it, and I might have lost a video, or maybe I even posted it, but I just don't remember doing it. Here it is, the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, created by the amazing Jill Pyle. I love the card backs. Look at this gorgeous pastel purple. I think when I first received this deck, I wasn't really into purple, but lilac purple or lavender purple, this shade of purple in particular, all of a sudden is like very popular. Probably because of Taylor Swift, I'm not sure. Totally my vibe. This is the artwork. This is how it looks like when it's like fanned out. The main reason that I really love about this deck is that it definitely is not like the super annoying mainstream kind of luxurious, or just this idea that self-care is just like about bubble baths and like rose petals in your bathtub, and then going to a spa, and then going on a vacation, sipping martini, and that's like self-care, and then that's it. Not to make it sound like it's a wrong thing to do, because self-care is whatever we need to take care of ourselves, but it's just I hate the narrow-mindedness of it. I hate the packaged, sort of commercialized aspect of it, where self-care is just like a bunch of like rose-scented candles or whatever the fuck. Like, super annoying. I remember just feeling very, very annoyed by that brand of self-care, but this deck has so many just like grounding and creative, spiritual, sort of just connect with yourself activities that are centered around self-care. Is not just taking a bubble bath. Just this sort of holistic idea of self-care, that self-care encompasses so many things. Like I said, it's whatever that we need to do to take care of ourselves, to take care of our inner children, our inner wounded parts, the parts of us that are perhaps overwhelmed, overworked, or just in need of rejuvenation and just the extra time and extra effort, right? And this deck is such an amazing roadmap and just such a great tool to navigate self-care in that regard. All the artwork is gorgeous. It's very soothing to look at. It's also very vibrant, it's really just make you feel like you want to come alive. Like, it's definitely a very soothing deck, but at the same time it's also like a very energizing deck, so which is very aligned with this theme of sacred self-care, and this is why I recommend the deck. This is actually one of the decks I regularly use, and the guidebook is amazing. Like, it has a lot of practical tips on how to sort of read into the card and just get into it. So I really, really appreciate this deck, and I really just appreciate being sent this deck, and I feel really bad about not giving it enough airtime. Sacred Self-Care Oracle, guys, and I hope you guys do check it out. Very, very awesome deck. And the second deck that I want to highlight is the Sacred Cycles Oracle, also by Jill Pyle and M. Dewey. It also came with like a journal / guidebook, mostly like a guided journal book that's like fully illustrated and fully colored, gorgeous. The paper is also like not like those super glossy type of paper that's really hard to write on. I think this is designed for you to kind of write on. I didn't use it, but I remember flipping through it and just really appreciating how it's laid out. But yeah, it's Sacred Cycles Oracle. So this deck is all about your feminine cycles and also natural cycles and just cycles. And obviously it's not just about your period, although it does have cards that basically just depict your period. Yeah, this deck is all about sacred cycles. And I remember also like when this deck came into my life, when it was sent to me, I was actually looking into topics like cycles, thinking sort of just like looking at your energy level, your nutritional needs and your mood swings according to where you are on your cycle, and also obviously connecting with moon cycles and the overarching kind of cosmic energies and the lunar energies and the rhythms of nature and the rhythms of the moon. And this deck is just a perfect tool for that. And the color palette of this deck is like very earthy. You can see like the orange earthy tones here. It's like very sort of in the root chakra, sacred chakra area. When it comes to like your energy centers. The artwork is also very like earthy. I'm trying to come up with like a different word, but it's just like, this is a very earthy deck, like Mother Earth, Mother Nature kind of deck. It has cards that pertain to like the phases of the moon, and it has like, you know, the cycles of birth. And I feel like this is just the perfect deck for you to connect with like the sacred cycles that you have. Whether it is like your internal cycles, your biological rhythms, and also like the larger cycles in the sky, and also with nature. And this deck just has it all, not to mention it has a guided journal. And one thing cool that I sort of tried to do with this deck was to plan out a project. I sort of laid out the cards that sort of represented different cycles of a creative project, and I also drew cards and did brainstorming for each phase of the project. And it was really cool to treat a creative project as a living, breathing, creative entity that has its own cycles. So strongly recommend, and not to mention, and it comes with a guidebook on the inside of the deck as well. So I'm like looking at the rest of the decks that I want to showcase, and I just noticed that they're all very connected with nature. They're all very earthy. I don't know if this is divine timing, it's just the decks that are being sent to me at a time, or it could be my brand, because my brand is called Fables Stan. It's very like connected with nature and animals, so maybe this is on brand for them to say, oh, like this girl might enjoy and really appreciate these decks which have similar themes. And I'm just like noticing that all of these decks have like really just earthy tones and really earthy energies, which is really ironic because I was just constantly stuck in my head and constantly stuck in my nervous system and constantly feeling like activated, like mentally activated all the time, or even just suppressed. I was just in my head a lot, and I was very ungrounded in reality because I was in a toxic relationship. And the whole time where I sort of one of the main reasons why I remained in a toxic relationship, it was because I was delulu. I was delulu about what was actually happening. Like I couldn't see a lot of the abusive dynamics and the emotional manipulative dynamics that were happening. It just occurred to me that I think maybe this is why I couldn't really connect with these decks. I wasn't really drawn to these decks, and I was having a hard time reviewing them or just even getting to reviewing them because they were just so incredibly like grounded. And that was definitely something that I did not have, and I was not matching the vibrational frequencies of these decks, because just looking at these decks and feeling into them just made me feel like, wow, this is definitely an energy that I did not have, that I was not tuned into at the time, and it would explain why I just was not feeling motivated to review them. Next deck is the Urban Crow Oracle by MJ Cullinane. It is a 54 card deck with a guidebook, so it's like a deck and guidebook set. Guidebook flip. The artwork of this deck I thought was really interesting because it sort of has this mystical vibe, and it has again a lot of earthy colors, but it's sort of like this muted wintry tone. It's a little grayish, it's a little kind of bleak looking, which I guess sort of aligns with the energy of the crow. Not to say crows are bleak, but they do have this sort of standoffish observer energy. They're often regarded as messengers. They can traverse different realms. They're obviously blackbirds. They look very majestic, and they look highly critical and like occasionally sassy too. And I think in a lot of like myths they are represented as like trickster figures. So I think this color palette really works. What I like about this deck is that it has lots of nature imageries, but obviously it's called the Urban Crow Oracle. It depicts a lot of like cityscapes and sort of just corners of the urban landscapes that we live in, but it's almost like when you zoom into that space, it's kind of like it becomes this in-between space. between like the mundane and the urban and the modern contemporary, and it's sort of like this in-between space that bridges that world into the mystical, the mythical, the intuitive, and the witchy. So I really just love that liminal feeling of it, and sort of just ethereal, but also like the first card is called Abundance, is literally like a crow picking from like a fish market, and it's just like with a background of like what I imagine is the pier. It's almost like it's such a mundane scene, but at the same time you could sort of like, it's sort of like almost like speculative fiction. Like that's the vibe this deck is giving me. This is sort of okay, I have this irrational fear of crows, especially when I go to parks. I'm just so scared that they're gonna peck my eyes out. I have this like healthy fear and respect towards crows because I just think they're such majestic creatures. I just feel like they know things. I don't know what that says about me. It could just be generalized anxiety. Sometimes my imagination just runs wild, and then my brain is just like, see that crow right there? You better not think ugly thoughts, or you better not think critical thoughts about the crow, because the crow is gonna know, and they're gonna come and pick your eyes out, and it's gonna tell all the crow brothers and sisters in the area that you're a shitty bitch, and then you're just gonna get haunted for life. Probably just my anxiety speaking, you know? But this deck is definitely very, very gorgeous, very, very well designed, and I love the keywords and I love the illustration. Yeah, so Urban Crow Oracle, guys, go check it out. Okay, so the next deck that I was sent to from Hay House, really sorry Hay House, you really sent me quite a few decks, and I'm like, I'm really sorry that I didn't get to feature any of these decks. I'm really sorry to the deck creators too. Like Sign of the Times or Signs of the Times Oracle by Crystal Banner. And not gonna lie, when I first looked at this deck, or just sort of like feel into the concept of this deck, I was really scared that, because I'm like, I respond to like a lot of fantastical images really well, you know, like pick motifs from fantasy literature, themes of magic and pastel color palette and all that. I looked at this deck and I was really worried that what if my intuition doesn't flow, because it's sort of like mundane object, but there's a lot of magic in the mundane. And when I actually looked through this deck, I could just feel how accessible the symbolism is, and it didn't lose the magic. And I'm sorry that I judged it in that way, but it was just kind of just like based on what I know of myself and the type of art that I respond to. I was really worried that I'm not gonna feel anything for this deck. I don't know, maybe just timing, because you know, sometimes we're drawn to different decks at different times. First card of this deck is the Evil Eye, and it's like an eye sticker on the laptop, and that just resonated with me so much. Recently I've been seeing a lot of Evil Eye in my internal vision. I'm sort of in the time of my life where I'm actively sort of overcoming my sense of inadequacy and my sense of, you know, my fear of being a failure, and just actively putting myself out there. And I'm just like trying not to let the fear of jealousy and people judging me like get in the way of my own success and get in the way of my own expression of self. And I've been seeing the Evil Eye a lot, and I'm sure that is the protection that I'm sort of establishing in place. I'm taking a stand against the counterfeit decks. I'm taking a stand for what I think I deserve as a business, where my boundaries are, etc. So I just been seeing Evil as a symbol a lot. So when this card, literally the first card in this deck showed up, I was like, wow, this is a very on time. That's a lot of like modern urban symbols. I don't know, it feels really refreshing to look at. It integrates with my subconscious really easily. When we see everyday objects, because we look at them so often, they kind of lose the magic because we see them all the time and we sort of see them as part of our everyday landscape, versus, you know, let's say we see the image and symbol of a unicorn, it really excites our imagination. Actually having a deck with these symbolism and motifs from the times, from the things that we look at every day, you know, like a stop sign, image of a laptop, a yield sign, a feather, a heart balloon, clouds. These things are just like literally everywhere, and you kind of make them stand out, and you sort of give them a little sparkle of magic, a little sparkle of intention, and just like really bring them to life and really just channel all of them in the form of a deck. I don't know, just something about that. It's almost like opening your eyes to see the messages that could actually come through from these everyday objects, and just like really not take things for granted, and not take the visuals that we see every day for granted, and just giving them new meaning and just connecting them with our subconscious. Just how easily they lend to our subconscious and just interpretation, because it's just such an easy symbol to work with, because we see them all the freaking time. And what an amazing collection. Like just a great selection of symbols, really. I don't know, it's like kind of poetic, but in a straightforward way. I love it. I love it. So strongly recommend this deck if you're looking for a deck with accessible symbols and something different, something that's, you know, just not like more of the same. Another deck from Hay House. Hay House, I'm so sorry. Like, I really am. I'm so sorry. I didn't get to review these decks. Animal Apothecary Oracle deck and guidebook for manifestation and fulfillment. And it's by Cara Elizabeth. And one thing that I really love about this deck is that even though it kind of looks like it's got a lot of earthy colors, like just from like the deck box, when you open the deck, there's actually a lot of pastel colors in it. And this is just kind of like personal preference because I love pastel colors. I also love that it's just, this deck is not just pastels, obviously that's not really the color palette, but there's also like cards with really stark contrast, which is something that I really enjoy as well. I love that every single card kind of has an affirmation on it, and sometimes it's not an affirmation, it's sort of like almost like a pit stop or just like an aspect of a journey on your way to manifest something, because this deck is about manifestation and fulfillment. It has a lot of thought-provoking images, and the way just the images is structured and the way things are organized. For example, there's a card that says face your fear, and there's a card that says quantum jump. There's like cards that have really practical suggestions and advice for your manifestation journey. There's also cards that kind of encourage you to get out of your head and to really examine your thoughts. There's also like concept cards like Abundance that really sort of has like this depiction of this whale and this rainbow cone of energy just coming down. It's almost like an energy work card. I love that every single card in this deck serves like a portal to kind of channel, just allow you to enter or just kind of really download this energy in your into your life. And there's also like really raw cards that says claim your power. Like this deck really speaks to me because I do love big cats and I love a lot of the animals that were chosen to be in the deck, such as this cute otter right here that says surrender to receive. Yeah, I kind of feel like this deck is really perfect for energy work if you're doing like some kind of ritual, if you're trying to do some scripting or manifesting or just visualization exercises. I feel like this deck is like the perfect gateway to facilitate all of those things. Just like such a great deck of tools. And again, I love all the animals they're selected. I love that this is hand drawn and that it's sort of like an earthy deck with like a lot of earthy vibes, but there's also like a lot of abstract concepts in this deck, which is perfectly in line with the theme of manifestation, because that's what manifestation is. It's not just all in your head. It's not just the laws of attraction. It's not just about examining your thoughts and thinking positive thoughts. It's about all of that, and also taking the actions necessary to really create that in your 3D world and to ground yourself in reality, because you can't create anything if you're not grounded in reality, if you're not seeing yourself and what you're doing and not seeing your life just exactly as it is. If you can't even see what's in front of you, you don't know how to work it, you don't know how to change it, and you certainly cannot add to it. And please check this deck out. It's called the, again, Animal Apothecary Oracle deck, and it has 44 cards and a guidebook on the inside. Okay, so last but not least from this lineup, it's the Radiant Tarot, and this is a chunky boy. I think it's a she. It's giving me she. The Radiant Tarot is by Alexandra Eldridge and Tony Barnstone, and it says Pathway to Creativity, and it's by Weiser Books. Ow. This is actually such an intelligent, amazingly designed deck. Like, I really love the concepts in this deck, and I'm just like ashamed that I didn't share it in time for this deck. Please just go check out this deck. So the Radiant Tarot has a lot of interesting sort of ideas about creativity in it, but at the time I just could not get into it. Like, I just, like, it's like I was dissociated, like, from my toxic relationship, and I just was so ungrounded I couldn't really connect with the part of me that was creative. Because looking at it now, it makes perfect sense to me. Like, I was just looking at the guidebook and in preparation of this video, and I was like, I actually want to read everything. I feel like I'm actually a vibrational match to this book and this deck now. I'm actually in the zone to be grounded and to be creative at the same time, and to connect with nature's medicine and nature's animal spirits. So I'm really glad that I'm making this review now, so that I can actually speak on it from a place of inspiration rather than obligation. First thing I want to mention is that this guidebook is bomb. It's so fucking awesome. Every single entry for each tarot deck, you will get the traditional meanings of the tarot deck, and then you will get musings and how this tarot archetype relates to creativity. It also gives you a creative practice and a note on astrology. It's just such a comprehensive guidebook on how you can sort of channel the archetype of this tarot card and sort of weave it into your creative practice and just give you inspirations about creative expression and art and things like that. It's almost like a spell book for creativity using tarot and images of nature and animal. This book, it's like deeply intelligent, deeply creative. I can really tell that the authors and the creators of this deck really put a lot of thought behind it. They really sort of channeled everything that they know about creativity and just try to crystallize everything in this book. Okay, so before we go, there's another confession that I have to make, and I unfortunately don't have the decks that were sent to me anymore because I lost them. This one is bad because I actually did, okay, so the Salmon Advice Oracle. I reviewed volume 3 and 4 and I made a video for these two incredible decks. I was asked to make a review video, so then the artist creator would send me like volume 1 and 2 for me to review. So they basically promised me free decks if I post a review for them, which I was gonna do anyway. And I reviewed 3 and 4 and it was one of like the best videos I've ever made. It's like very interesting deck, like the cards combined into a photo mosaic, so it was a very cool video to film. So I told them that I filmed a video and they sent me Salmon Advice Oracle, I think 1 to 2. I think they might have sent me another deck as well, but I lost the decks and I wasn't able to film a video and it was just a disaster. And I feel really bad because, you know, they did send me like free decks in exchange for hoping that I will also review them. I just wanted to give them a shout out and just to let you know that these decks exist and I fucked up, and please go check them out. And if you're looking for like an interesting deck full of like a collection of artwork, especially if you love line art, please go check out the Salmon Advice Oracle. I think I actually filmed the unboxing for volume 1 and 2, like other than volume 3 and 4, like the other decks from the series. I feel responsible. Alright, so, whew, that was a weight off my shoulders. I've been thinking about these decks for 2.5 years. I don't know how long. It's just like this collection of decks that I was meant to review, but never did. And now I finally made a video for them. So please check them out. Give them some love. Just even if you don't want to buy them, just go visit the links and just get them. Like just maybe add it to your wish list. Get it for someone else. Let me know if you have any of these decks. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you'd be interested in working with them, and I'm really glad that I finally got to them, even though it's been a long time. Again, I'm very, very sorry. Until next time, take care and love yourself, and you deserve the world. Goodbye.